intensive cultivation of the triple world. As read from a Cadillac DeVille at the corner of 13th and Eagle, Anchorage, Alaska. Hanzalongai was one of the 8 immortals of the popular Taoist legend. His disciple Liu Dongbin, another of the 8 immortals, is among the greatest and most beloved Taoist wizards of all time. There is a book called The Annals of the Transmission of the Way from Zhonglu, which consists of dialogue between those 2 giants on the practice of inner spiritual alchemy, collected, edited, and decimated by the Taoist master Hua Yang. This text includes the following discussion. What is the principle of the Great Way that is hard to know and hard to practice? Zhongli said, since minor auxiliary methods easily produce visible effects, and they have been popularized by worldly people who never wake up all of their lives, this has become such a trend that has become to the point of spoiling the Great Way. Lou asks, I already know about minor auxiliary methods. Can I hear about the Great Way, like I said? Yeah, Longzi said. The way basically has no question. Question basically has no answer. Paradox everything. But when true energy divides, total simplicity is already gone. The way produces 1. 1 produces 2. 2 produces 3. 1 stands for substance. 2 stands for function. 3 stands for creation and evolution. The substance and function are not beyond yin and yang. Creation and evolution are caused by their interaction. The higher, middle, and lower are all 3 fundamentals. Heaven, earth, and humanity collectively realize one way. The way produces 2 energies. The 2 energies produce 3 fundamentals. The 3 fundamentals produce the 5 elements. The 5 elements produce all beings. Of all beings, the most intelligent and most noble are human beings. Only beings search out in the principles of all things and fulfill their own nature. Finding out principle and fulfilling nature, we arrive at destiny now. Fulfilling our destiny and preserving our lives, we conform to the way. To become as stable in heaven as earth, and to last forever in the same way. Lou said, okay, alright, sure, alright. Heaven and earth last forever, but the human lifespan is only 100 years at best. And indeed, few even live to that, to be 70 maybe. How can the way only exist in heaven and earth while being remote from humankind? Sure, Zhongli said. The way is not remote from people, but peoples distance themselves from the way. Trying to nurture life without knowing how. The reason they don't know how is that they don't know the right timing to make effort. The reason they don't know the right timing is that they don't have no understand of the mechanism of heaven and earth. Yeah, the mechanism of heaven and earth refers to the laws by which the universe operates. Humanity is born between heaven and earth. A human being is a microcosm that is influenced and regulated by the macrocosm. Unless you know natural laws, proper timing, and appropriate method, there is no succeeding in the learning the way. Polish away the temperamental nature of acquired habit, and fundamental essential nature appears in itself, operating from outside of preference and operating within the flow of natural occurrence and circumstance. Yes, that's when you polish away, and nature appears of itself. Casting aside the ordinary mind, keep the true mind. Where does this true mind resort? To nature. The work of collecting the mind is to nurture its essential nature, was completed in 1 year, with Wang Leping emerged from the dark room, earth pit, the giant urn, and the graveyard, heading towards nature itself. Everything in the triple world of heaven, earth, and humanity is a partner in cultivation in the process of realizing the way. Sun, moon, and stars and plants, mountain and rivers, flowers, plants, and trees, birds and beasts, wind, rain, thunder, lightning, heat, cold, summer, spring, fall, and winter, east, west, south, and north. Everything contains creation and evolution. Everything conceals subtleties. Now, under the tutelage of these three wizards, Wang Leping began to investigate cultivation of triple world. The sun rises and sets. The moon waxes and wanes. Inhale. Exhale. Proper timing. Keep the true mind to nature. The stars, the poles. Spring gives birth, autumn kills, summer grows, winter stores, seas dry up, rocks emerge. Dynasties change. Eras pass. In the triple world of heaven and earth and humanity, in the middle of the countless changes and transformations always going on. Yes, change, constant. Yet, all of it forms one single complete system. Wherein oppositions tend toward balance from imbalance. Yes, towards balance. In nurture, this is natural. Balance, and then nurture towards imbalance. Within balance, producing regular and harmonious movement, a symphonic dance of perfection and grace, smoothed by wind, water, dirt, and fire. The forces not only differ in direction, they are also unequally distributed in time. The triple world of heaven and earth and humanity, yet it all forms one single complete system. Balance. Humanity, being in the midst of this, lives and acts in conformity to the commands of nature, subject to many pressures from both nature and society. The forces do not differ. Life, movement, chi. They do not differ in direction. They are unequally distributed in time, yes, and are of countless different characteristics, yes. Some people's senses can perceive them, picking up subtle variations, while others cannot. Some are beneficial to the human body, some are harmful. Modern science has made minute analysis of these forces that can be perceived, yes, but it does not recognize the existence of countless imperceptible forces. Yet the effects of these forces on the human body and spirit and mind and human life are even greater than those perceptible forces. This shortcoming does not exist in the ancient cultures of China and other peoples. First of all, these cultures accepted the existence of such forces and metaphysical knowledge. What is more, they investigated these forces using different methods, testing them and learning to operate them and within them. The excellence of traditional culture and its medicinal and spiritual value, totalistic in view, in which heaven, earth, and humankind are united into one operational life system. And this view avoids partially the bias when it comes to the issue of what degree of perception they attained. The quality of perception and expression. How do they express it in words? That is the other question. Taoist culture is one of the main pillars of traditional culture, Eastern, and methodology, degree of attainment and perception of the universe and the human body is truly amazing to modern man. It may even be that Westerners appreciate its value more than the Chinese themselves do. seen as its lustrous jewel is human civilization. Heaven, earth, and humanity are one continually, one totality, one system, with humanity living in the middle. The Great Way works throughout the universe, unresisting harmony, balancing itself. Taoists have cleared and cleaved to this way for thousands of years, using it to preserve the universe and perceive and cultivate and refine the human being, leaving behind the inexhaustible treasure of countless writings. The three old Dragon Gate Taoist wizards from Mount Lao were using the teachings transmitted by their spiritual ancestors to train their young disciple. Leping's mentor now taught him an equilibrium exercise from the spiritual jewel techniques of inner exercises to master mental capacities. The equilibrium exercise one of the spiritual jewel power exercise methods is in the category of external method exercises. It is developed from elaboration of an even older breathing technique. The practitioner combines harmonic physical movements with the strictly regulated breathing patterns, then goes on to use intent energy in the whole system of sensitive spots in the body to exchange energy masses with plants, animals, and human beings, and other natural entities. It is called an equilibrium of exercise because it enables the practitioner to attain a state of balance or equilibrium in the mutual opposition of antagonism of energy masses and the interaction between humanity and plants, between humanity and animals, among human beings, and between humanity and other natural entities. This practice in name, principle, and method actualizes a kind of deep philosophical thinking, considering the relationships between humans and other things within the context of the total system of the universe. Handling these relationships seriously in a comprehensive manner, the premise is to avoid disrupting the equilibrium of the total system while maximizing the expression of the external world. The purpose of nourishing life, strengthening the body, and increasing longevity. The wayfarer of pure serenity has begun this lesson by facing a huge pine tree. "See this tree?" he said to Leping. "Today we're going to work with this tree. It's an enormous tree. It has been through years of fierce heat, cold, bitter cold, blown by the wind, beaten by the rain. Its life force is truly powerful, containing something useful to our cultivation. In the human body are routes of energy circulation, routes of blood circulation, and routes of waste elimination. The tree also has routes of energy circulation, routes of water circulation, ways of absorbing nutrients, and ways of eliminating waste products. Equilibrium exercise mainly consists of methods of radiating and absorbing auras from ethereal forces. Working with a tree involves exchanging energy with the tree to attain an equilibrium of yin and yang and the five elements in the human body. Trees have different color bases associated variously with the five elements. The color base corresponds to the liver. If people have liver disease, it comes from water weakness. When the water is weak, the wood does not grow. The kidneys manage water, and the color associated with water is black. The tree associated with black is the cedar. So to cure liver disease, you must first work with cedar to replenish kidney water, and then you work with pine after that. There is a system for these things. There is a system that you can know and learn through these methods. Liver disease can also come from extensive fire energy, which causes a leakage of wood energy. So control the fire energy is needed to cure the liver effectively. Liver disease can also come from mental energy. So control of fire energy is needed to cure the liver effectively. Liver disease can also come from an excess of mental energy, which causes tension in the wood energy. So it is also necessary to control mental energy to cure the liver. In any case, it is necessary to find a corresponding tree to work with. Only then can you harmonize the yin and yang and 5 elements in the human body, getting rid of sickness and strengthening the body. Wang Leping had already heard about the principle of the 5 elements fostering and overcoming each other from the Wayfarer of the Infinite. So now he took the explanation of the Wayfarer of pure serenity with perfect clarity. He even knew what the Wayfarer meant by an aura of ethereal force. The Wayfarer of pure serenity continued, there are altogether 9 kinds of equilibrium in exercise. Starting today, we will study them one by one. Then the Wayfarer walked over to the huge pine tree and stood about half a meter from it. Watch what I do, he said to Leping. Standing with his feet at shoulder width, knees slightly bent, the mentor held his upper body in erect position. Raising his arms, he extended them in front of him, straight but not stiff. His sides open, his palms towards the tree. Gazing straight ahead with his eyes nearly closed, the old wizard slowly bent and straightened his legs, moving up and down while maintaining his torso upright, both hands slowly sweeping up and down along the trunk of the tree. As he demonstrated the movements, the Wayfarer explained, pay attention to the attunement of the breathing. When you move upwards, you breathe in, and when you move downward, you breathe out. As the physical movements are performed slowly, the breathing must be slow, subtle, deep, long, and even. Like brush strokes, they must fully complete and perfect the scene. At the same time, certain conscious thoughts need to be added to this combination. The energy and attention is placed in the palms of the hand, and you imagine the tree to be an enormous pillar of energy of a particular color. In this case, this pine tree I'm using is a pillar of green energy. Imagine your palms emitting a mass of energy of the same color, exchanging it with the tree's energy mass. Now go, Wang, and paint with your hands and breath upon this reality and this tree. Wang Leping began the exercise, imitating the teacher, but the old wizard stood by watching carefully, alerting him where needed to be attention, stopping Leping when he had gotten to the point where he could execute the movements correctly and had clearly experienced certain feelings. In the mountains of that region, there are many varieties of trees, making it a good place to practice this exercise. Every morning at dawn and evening at dusk, Wang Leping would perform the exercise for a period specified by his mentor, choosing a different species of tree, one after another. He also learned a number of different postures. The Wayfarer of pure serenity, that's the Joker one, was very serious about teaching. And his requirements were pretty strict. This exercise, every morning at strict o'clock. For this exercise at strict o'clock, he decided to add an extra challenge. Rigging a pulley up in the tree, he attached a rock to a rope and then ran the rope through a pulley so that the rock could be raised and lowered by pulling on a rope. As Wang Leping performed the exercise, the old wizard held onto the rope in such a way as to keep the rock right over the youth's head, thereby forcing him to control the speed of its movements accordingly, while keeping his upper body consistently erect. The old mentor worked the rope so that it took fully half an hour to go up and down once. So the movement was extremely slow, even more difficult than standing still. And since the breathing has to be matched to the pace, that added yet another degree of difficulty to the exercise. So, over a period of 4 hours, Leping made the excruciatingly slow movement and up and down just a few times. His knees burned with pain. His thighs turned to jelly. His sacroiliac became numb. There was that rock over his head, however, and the sternness of teachers there watching, so no matter how hard or painful it was, he had to continue steadfastly. Over a period, when the exercise was over, Leping's clothes were soaked with sweat. He didn't have enough strength to walk. The old wizard, his mentor, was pained by the sight, but how could he foster exceptional attainment in this disciple without such training? The old wayfarer had carried his youthful apprentice away, but in fact he himself had also quite a workout. After he got used to doing this exercise under the stone, Wing Leping had already achieved more than useful skill in tuning his body and breath and exchanging energy with the trees in this exercise. Even without his mentor there, he was able to do it quite well. Leping's mentor wanted him to establish a solid foundation once he started working on equilibrium exercises, so he pursued a new tack with his subject. The three old wizards had discovered an extremely good place on the mountain. It was not a large spot, but it had 5 huge trees of different species, one in each of the 4 cardinal directions and one in the center. In the east was a pine tree, in the south was a polowina, in the west was an aspen, in the north was a cedar, and in the center was a willow. Felicitously, they formed a new array of the 5 elements and their associated directions. So it was a natural place for using the external 5 elements to refine the 5 elements within the human body. When the 3 old wizards discovered the spot, they spontaneously looked at each other in amazement. The Grand Master, the Wayfarer of the Infinite, clapped his hands and said, "This is a boon from heaven." Subsequently, they rigged up a rope net among the trees, and about half the height of a man, they said, had Wang Leping walk under this net, his legs crouching, but his upper body erect, the crown of his head just touching the net, so he could neither stand tall nor squat too low. After practicing like this for 2 months, Leping could walk in a horse step all the way around the area within the 5 trees. He could even carry a bowl of water on his head, prancing about at a rapid pace without spilling a drop, keeping the surface of the water level as a mirror. 7:38 a.m. Anchorage, Alaska. 13th and Eagle. Stay tuned for more. Chapter whatever this is. Brother.